What's up, you guys, and welcome to the official podcast of Damian Talks Education. So listen up. I am here to talk about all things education on my podcast. So get prepared for some realness and honesty of education as I walk you down through various of topics that's happening in the education world with some amazing guests, to sharing stories relating to education and so much more, because I got you covered with education. So join me on this journey of education with me. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Damian Talks Education. And I greatly thank you all so much for being with me on today. So sit on down, and happy Friday. Yes, it's Friday, everyone. It's Friday. So, this week has been. It has been. It has been. Oh my gosh, it's just been all over the place. I do crack myself up. I really do. Oh my gosh. I really crack myself up when I do these by myself, because it's my show. Uh, but when I have a guest on, I have to try to be careful so I can maintain myself. But I'll be having a ball of a ball. See, there I go. I be having a ball over here. Oh gosh, but this week has been all over the place. But I'm glad it's Friday today. I really am. I really am. So let's just now, if you guys if I don't, you probably will, but if you guys hear me doing my sniffing, if you guys hear me do that, and there goes my voice again. I apologize in advance, because you guys, I had sprayed in my room too much spray, because now it's getting to me. I can quite still smell. I spray too much. It's some type of a what? Okay, it smells like it's some kind of like a butterscotch, like cinnamon combo or something. It smells fantastic. It smells fantastic. But I sprayed too much of it though. That's the problem. I sprayed too much of it, and now and I'm probably gonna sneeze in a few minutes. So I apologize in advance, and then that's gonna really act up my allergy. So I apologize in advance. Okay, so all that thought. Alrighty then. I didn't want you guys to hear that, so I had to mute myself. All right, so let's dive in. Okay, because today is all about building relationships with your students. You guys know I'm so big and so passionate about that. Yes. I'm having too much fun, so lower it down, okay? Um, so I'm going to be sharing some simple ways, you guys, of how to build relationships with your students. Because I am a big believer. I am a big believer onto that, because I believe that, having a relationship with your students, that is the foundation as a classroom teacher. That is key, because if you don't, and you guys know, I talk in past episodes about this. If you don't have a relationship, that deep bond, that connection with your students, Then it's gonna be, and you guys know, I think you guys know that it's gonna be bumpy between you and that particular student throughout the year because you haven't started off at the start. You haven't started off from the beginning, is what I'm trying to say. Is what I'm trying to say. You didn't start it off at the beginning of the school year, and that is the perfect timing of, you know, excuse me, of starting that connection, excuse me, that connection, that bond with your students. It is. Don't wait. Please don't wait. Please don't wait towards the end of the school year. Don't wait because by then it is too late. It is too late. You and that student had a rough year probably, and you want to try to fix it now at the very last second. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Please, please, educators, please, starting off, this next school year into the 2023-24 school year, please start off with building a foundation, a connection, that relationship with your students at the beginning of the school year. I cannot stress that enough, folks. I cannot stress that enough. Please try to do it at the beginning of the school year. Now, it can be fun quite toward like the middle of the school year. It quite depends, though. For me, in my view, it quite depends because, we have different schools, around the world who starts, school very differently. I know over here in Tennessee, where I'm at, we start in August. That's where we start at. So for me, if I didn't, um, oh gosh, if I didn't start off at the beginning of the school year in August, then my middle will be, for me, it will consist of probably somewhere around in September to October 1. Okay. Um, so that is, come on, you guys. Come on, okay? So let me dive on into you guys simple ways to build relationships with your students. So I found out, get this right here. According to Search Intuition, only 29% of middle school students reported having a great developmental relationship with their teachers. Now, in the same study, barely one-third of middle school students strongly agree with the statement, and I'm quoting, teachers really care about me. And even worse, by high school, only 16% strongly agree with the statement. One third one third of the middle school students, they in this study has strongly agreed with the statement that teachers really care about me. One third. I'm sorry, but that quite bothers me. Educators, we pick up the slack. Pick up the slack. That's all I'm going to say. Pick up the slack. Now, these troubling figures make one thing certain. Students need meaningful adult connections now more than ever. Absolutely. They need it now more than ever. They need to be, our students, you guys know I say this all the time, they need to feel seen, that they are valued, that they are loved, they are, everything. Am I right? Because our students are watching, they are watching us. So we got to be careful. We got to be careful. If you want to be that mentor, if you want to be that leader, for your students, set an example for them. Set an example. That's all I'm going to have to say. While every teacher does what works best for them, you guys know I say that all the time. So here are I'm going to break it down, some ways of how you can build relationships with your students. Now, all these right here, these will be good for me when I enter into the classroom. And probably some of you guys have already implemented this inside your classroom. If you have, great. Please reach out to me. Let me know, how did this work out into your classroom? What ways, what techniques, what strategies, activities, whatever that you did inside your classroom, that'll be greatly for me to quite implement in my own kind of way, in my own spin. All right. So these are in no particular order, no particular order. There's no certain way of how you need to do this. You could do whatever you want to, put your own spin onto it. All right. So the first I have is to greet your students at the door. That is very important. So I'm gonna read a story, and all of these are a story from a teacher of how she does it inside of her classroom of building relationships with her students. She's sometimes too busy in between bells and forget to go into the hallway to greet students as they enter her room. But she have tried to be more cautious, be very, cautious about this by getting there early to say hello and maybe give a fist bump. Now, research shows that greeting students as they enter the classroom increase their sense of belonging and readiness to engage. I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. And I love this person right here, David Jameson II, aka the Dope Educator, of how when he was in a classroom, of how he had and it had went everywhere, it had went viral everywhere, of how he greets his students, that with his handshake with the students. I love that. I love that. And I'm gonna just say this. I hope it's fine with you. I'm mentioning it out right now. Is it okay if I can do that with my students once I get inside the classroom? Like put my own spin onto it, not exactly how you did it, but do some type of way of how you did put my own spin into it. Is that fine with you, dope educator? Please let me know. Please let me know. But I love that of him. I truly, truly love that of him. So it's also an opportunity to get class started on a positive note, because we always want to start on a positive note, am I right? And connect with each student, which we don't often get, which we don't often get, once we begin our lessons. So as she thinks about it, she also finds that starting her classes at the door rather than behind her desk makes her happier and more energetic. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Absolutely. So I love that. Greet your students at the door, because I love that, because it will make them feel that you are welcoming in. You're welcoming them into the classroom, into their classroom, because that is their classroom as well. So I love that. Here's my second. This is quite interesting. I don't know if you guys try this, but this is quite interesting. Which is, how about discussion assignments? What do I mean by that? Let me break it down to you guys. So to differentiate how this teacher evaluates student work, she designed an activity. She created an activity that was structured. Get me here. It was structured as a discussion. Okay, so she discovered that the advantage of this exercise, it exceeded her expectations. It did. Now, despite the fact that each discussion was only for just 5 minutes, it was just 5 minutes long, it allowed her to speak to each of her students individually, one by one, addressing them by name and make eye contact. Bingo, bingo, bingo. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. One on one with your students, getting to know them by their names, making eye contact, having a conversation, dialogue. Come on, come on. So she frequently uses these discussion evaluations in class while her other students are working on something else. And she meets with individual students in an area of her classroom where she have like I said earlier, one-on-one conversation. And although they are brief, they allow her to spend time with each student and get to know them in a manner that wouldn't be possible if she just merely read their work. So these dialogues also allow her to provide immediate feedback to them, to the students' thoughts or concerns about whatever they was doing. And the discussions help her create an open channel of communication that generates trust and support. Yes, I am on board to this. I am on board onto this. Giving the students, immediate feedback. If you do it one-on-one, you can give them immediate feedback, helping them, hey, okay, you had trouble with this. Okay, this is what you need to do. Absolutely, because you can't always do it, if you're doing it as a whole, as a group, because you can't get to every student. But doing one-on-one, that's excellent. That's excellent. So discussion assignments. I love that. Discussion assignments. Brilliant. Here's the next one. Here's the third one I have. And I'm going to try to do this as well with all of these. But this is, I don't know if many teachers out there truly do this, though. I'm not for sure. But it's attend your students' events. Yeah. So while attending student events does require you to spend some time outside of the school day making, connection, it's a tried and true approach for building relationships because it shows that you care about your students. Absolutely 100. You care about your student interests and achievements outside the classroom, not inside, but what they do outside the classroom. Are they into sports, basketball, extracurricular activities, getting involved in the community, whatever. So she always gets such great feedback from her students whenever they see her at their sporting events, their performance, and club activities. And attending these events will give you and your students something to talk about. Now, even if you can't stay the entire time, showing up for even a portion of it can be a great way to demonstrate your interest in your students' lives. Amen. So, in her experience, kids remember when you show up for them. So while this may take some effort, some extra effort on your part, it can have a huge payoff. This is a huge impact for them. Letting them know that, hey, Mr. Anderson, he truly cares about me. He is here at my game. That support right there. And then the next day, they'd be like, oh, thank you so much, Mr. Anderson, for supporting me. That truly made my night. And if we could have, you did a great job. You made those scores and blah, blah, whatever. That's all they want. That's all they want. They want their teachers to feel that they are seen, they are heard, they are valued, that you care about them, about whatever they do, even outside of the classroom. So that's big. That is very big right there, and I love it. Lastly, let's introduce yourself and call students by name. So every day, this teacher walks down the halls and sees kids that she don't know. She sees students sitting alone, eating, or playing on their phones. So this year, she has made an effort to interact with those kids by just introducing herself to them. A simple introduction enables kids who may feel like outsiders to know that you notice them, and it only takes a minute. You'll be able to address that student by name the next time you see them. Learning a student's name is an important first step in developing a personal connection with them and making them feel like they belong. It's important to remember that a kid doesn't actually need to be a student in our classroom for us to create a connection with them. That's it keeps going on saying a brief and sincere one-on-one interaction with a student in the hallway or in your classroom will most likely mean more to them than the entirety of your lesson that day. And it might mean the difference between a good and a bad day for them. And she sometimes has students stop by her room to talk, and it's almost never about the curriculum. So, like for example, at the start of the year, she had a student tell her about a college to which they had applied. And recently they found out that they were admitted and rushed to tell her immediately. Only a few minutes of conversation, um, months ago made an impact. What may seem to be, out of the ordinary or whatever to you may be truly significant to that student, and you may be their meaningful adult connection. That's all I have is just clapping because that sums up everything of what I was going to mention. Because we see it all the time. A student is sitting by themselves. It's I hate that. Truly, I hate when I see a child is sitting by themselves. They're not interacting. They probably don't want to, and it's just that bothers me. That bothers me inside, and I don't like that feeling. And And it doesn't matter, like just like I said here, it doesn't matter if that student is not in your classroom or not even in that grade level. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Having that connection with that student, let them know who you are. Tell them about whatever, and it will. I'm loving this. I am lost for words. I am lost for words because this is great. Fantastic. I'm telling you. Okay, now I want to read something from one of the people that I follow on social media, Dwayne Red. Um, he goes by on his social media at Teach Mr. Reed. I said Red. Dwayne Reed, sorry. And he posts this about, building relationships with your students. And one of his posts was, and I quote, when I say build relationships with your students, I'm saying just be a decent human being to kids. It's not an add on or something more to do. It's treating kids like they're human. I like that. I'm that is spot on. Just be a decent human being to kids. Absolutely. Because these days, these teachers, I don't know what they're doing, but it's exactly. It's treating kids like they're human because they are humans. They are not robots. They are not dust. They are not whatever you think they are. They are humans, and we need to treat them as that. And then he goes on to say he made this post in his this long post here, and I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. The show. He made this comment: standing steadfast on this one forever, 100. I don't care who calls it a platitude. I don't care who seems it's artificial. I don't care who is just disillusional by this or the actual practice of it. In education, we must build relationships with our kids, period. If you don't know how to do that, just say that. Ask questions, read books, watch others. It is okay to not know how to do something than to ask for help. It's my belief that teachers must be the led learner at all times. Please don't be please don't be so quick to criticize educators who build relationships well. Your jealousy is put in full display whenever you turn your nose at the educator who mind their business and work hard to humanize the educational experience for their scholars. Stop being a hater. Yes, some administrators have weaponized the relationship building ideology. Yes, some social media influencers have given many what to do's without also providing how to do it. Yes, some have claimed relationship building is a fix all. None of this gives anyone the right to tear down the educators who take pride in building those types of bonds with the people they have signed up to serve. Lastly, building a relationship is not more work. per se. Yes, it takes work and intentionally, but that specific effort to remind our students of their belonging and their humanity is woven into our work, not another thing added to our plates. Build relationships with your students and their families. Be a decent human being. Ignore the ignorance or the jealousy or the haters. Love your kids and treat everyone like they deserve to be there because they do. Hashtag relationships matters. Hashtag teacher Instagram, hashtag teachers, hashtag build relationships. I got nothing to say because that was spot on. So on that note, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. If you have any more techniques, tips, advice, strategies, whatever, of how you build relationships with your students, please let us know over here at Damian Talks Education. We would love to hear from you. So like always, you guys have a fantastic Friday. Please enjoy your weekend. This is Damian Talks Education. Take care of yourself, be blessed, and we will see you guys next time.